Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Coming off of last night's Bachelor in Paradise finale, we have a lot of loose ends to catch up on. We'll be here all day with content for you, one of which is Pieper releasing a statement on Instagram just in the last couple minutes regarding where her head is at after this season. As we all know, Pieper and Brendan were part of the great unfollowing, where Brendan lost hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, and Pieper lost a couple dozen thousand, right? Maybe 10, 15,000. She's doing okay at 74,000.1 right now. Clearly, Brendan was seen as the mastermind of the situation, and they had sort of coordinated plans, although they never technically admitted to it. I think it's pretty obvious. They coordinated plans, allegedly, to get themselves a free vacation on Bachelor in Paradise, which, not the end of the world, except Brendan then led on Natasha for several weeks, episodes, while waiting for Pieper to show up. And then they were caught on a hot mic saying things that were like, we're going to have a great following from this X, Y, and Z. And then Bachelor Nation said, hold my sex on the beach. I don't think so. So do me a favor. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the like button. Definitely helps out the YouTube algorithm. And you can go to patreon.com/Dave Neal for bonus insider tea, Beck's, podcasts, private membership community, and all that jazz. I'm running on low energy today, folks. I had a long day yesterday covering all the Bachelor in Paradise live streams, but let's get right into it. Here's Pieper, her Instagram account. Of course, it was mentioned, actually. Well, let's start here. I'll read her statement for you in 1 second, but just to catch you up, Bachelor in Paradise's Brendan and Pieper break up. After leaving Bachelor in Paradise early to continue their relationship, Brendan and Pieper have decided to call it quits. The backlash from the show was too hard on both of them, a source close to the pair shared exclusively with E! News. They decided to split and focus on themselves. Pieper thinks it's best for her to spend time reevaluating her life. So this is obviously a source on Becca's side of the camp, which is fine. I'm sorry, on Pieper's side of the camp, which is fine. The source added she thinks this is a good life lesson but wants to move on. And part of moving on is going to just be the work that needs to go into realizing what the heck actually went down. As I always say, the pendulum, the wrecking ball of Bachelor Nation and generally of the wrath of internet culture never hits its target and stops. It always goes too far. So the question is, did people go too far with Pieper? I mean, every single one of her photos, unless she's deleting, it was every single one of her photos had like people commenting snakes and clueless. Maybe she's getting rid of them. You can be annoying. But she was getting a lot of snakes on her photos after the situation with Brendan. And of course, this photo, she said a singularity, which was her way of saying I'm single, although it didn't really make sense. Someone says stop deleting comments. People really wanted to take to public and bash them. So here's what Pieper had to say regarding it all. A letter to those asking where I've been. Let's see if there's any sound here. There's no sound. So I don't know. Have people asked where she's been? It's in a while we have to report on the fact that you may take a week off of social media. I first want to start by saying this is a letter to everybody who's been so sweet in asking where I've been, or when I occasionally post saying that they miss seeing me on my Instagram. That's a long sentence. I'm sure it's no secret that the last month has been pretty hard mentally for me. In terms of why I haven't been on Instagram lately, it has a lot to do with me focusing on my mental health and focusing on the things that matter to me in my real life. Something that I don't share a lot about on Instagram is my anxiety. I've been in therapy for several years now for it. My anxiety stems from control or lack of control over situations in my life. The situations vary from not having my schedule organized during the week to not being able to control what people will say about me online and many factors in between. As you can imagine, the latter has been a contributing factor as to why I've been off Instagram frequently the last month. To help quell my anxiety, I've chosen to focus on my real life, the life I live day to day in New York. I have chosen to focus on the quality, positive relationships in my life and give gratitude to those people who continue to be by my side as I continue to be by theirs. I have chosen to focus more on living in the moment and enjoy my time rather than being concerned about posting the good times I'm having. Yes, I love sharing my life online, but what I choose to share online and how I actually exist day to day are not always synonymous. As we all know, sometimes it's healthy to take a break from social media and reflect on the things that really, truly make us happy. I am working on living a life driven by happiness, passion, and joy, not one where I'm a product of anxious thoughts and an unsettled mind. Thank you for allowing me to take some time to live in the moment. Thank you for allowing me to continue to find myself and grow. Life is a journey, and every day I look forward to discovering and learning more. I encourage anyone who is feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, or anxious to take time to reflect and take time to find joy. It's a very nice statement by Pieper James. Now, some will say that there are sinister motives. Oh, she just wants to get her following back. Oh, she's jockeying to play a victim by having anxiety. All of those could be true. But the fact of the matter here is that the numbers back it up. The suicide rate in people who think about suicide, trigger warning, we're talking about suicide now, sorry, sometimes I don't put a trigger warning up front, is high amongst young women on Instagram. You're constantly being showed a perfection of other people's bodies and career goals and the way to slay it. And sometimes we just want to be rotten and normal humans. And some days we are better than others. And with anxiety, the lack of control, they always say like an anxiety is just a fear of something that hasn't happened yet, right? So the anxiety of not being able to control what other people think about your message, it's always good to release that anxiety, but that's very hard to do if you're going to stay on social media. For a lot of anxious people, it's good to just appreciate the moment. There is nobody in Pieper's real human life outside of social media that's going up to her and calling her a snake. It's not happening, guys. It's very rare, very rare that happens in real life, that someone comes out and treats you that way. It's people that are keyboard warriors that feel like sharing their opinions online. They don't matter, and what's more important is what other people think of you is none of your business, right? The old term, what people think of me is none of my business, and that's the truth. Social media has created a portal for people to connect with others in a world in which they would have never had that opportunity. Never would these people have had an opportunity to talk to Pieper the way that they are. And quite frankly, she doesn't deserve it. Her crimes on that beach do not match the wrath of people that feel like they were personally offended by her. Does she have things she probably needs to work on? Sure, she's in her early 20s. Guess what? Newsflash, for the rest of your life, you'll be trying to evolve and learn from your past mistakes and right them and move forward and try to teach those lessons to your kids. We're ever evolving and nobody's perfect and no one should ever claim to be. Let's see if she says anything else. I think that's the final statement. So, good on her to take the time to find her joy. Of course, she posts this on her Instagram story, which is nice because then people can't comment on it. But let the lady live. Let her figure it out. Maybe she'll lose a few more followers. Maybe she'll gain a few. But her crimes did not match, in my opinion, the punishment she received. And this isn't to say that we can't have grace for other people that were affected by Brendan's decision to stay on the beach, which namingly would be Natasha. Of course, she has been affected and deserves everyone's grace and empathy. But at the same time, even people like Brendan, which we'll be seeing what he does, should continue to talk about their experience so we can understand the wrath they faced from the actions that they made on the beach. And so often I'll make content where I talk about different people on the beach and, I'll make content trying to describe what they might have been going through and try to figure it out. And people say, oh, Dave, you're making excuses for them. And I say, well, I don't believe personally that an explanation is an excuse. Explaining what went down, explaining how Brendan and Pieper could get themselves onto a daybed and have these conversations that made other people look so bad, that trivialized pain felt by Natasha and others and all that. It was an ugly thing. And trying to hear, Brendan maybe explain it on a podcast, I think is a net positive. Whether people decide to refollow him, that's none of my business. What the hell do I care? What the hell do I care if his following goes up or if Pieper's following goes up? What we could all benefit from is the growth that comes from learning from our mistakes and learning to be better versions of ourselves moving forward. You're still going to be in the same skin, but what I love, like the spiritual side of things, is that our atoms, our skin cells, our organ cells, all of the pieces of us continue to die and regrow. Yet we are left with the only thing of our past is our reimagining of what actually went down, our memories. Well, we can't change our memories. We can't change the past, but we can take that energy that exists within us and build up a better version of who we are and put ourselves on a better trajectory. There's a very good chance Pieper grows from this, and there's a very good chance she becomes a better, more fulfilled person. There's also people who I believe, like the Taylor Nolans of the world, that live in such a defensive mindset where everyone else is against them and they're the victim of every story, where they might not grow. But if Pieper and possibly Brendan can truly understand why they're not the victim, but why they feel the way they do and how they want to make positive changes to get out of that, the world is theirs and everything that is in it, and I think they'll be just fine. I'd love to hear how it all goes down. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to y'all later on. Bye now.